Donald Trump has chickened out again. What is he so afraid of? Well, on tariffs on Canada, they called Trump's bluff and Trump backed down. Donald Trump, it was Tuesday after all. He got it in just an hour and 45 minutes before it became Wednesday. Donald Trump backing down from another huge tariff threat hours before it was going to take effect. And of course, Trump is trying to transform this into such a strong victory. We won, so I don't need the tariffs, even though that is completely fabricated. Let me explain what went on. Donald Trump threatened to put a 50% tariff on about $20 billion of Canadian goods. Canada, one of our most important allies, one of our most important trading partners. If those tariffs had gone into effect, they would have affected everything from wine, dairy, and clothing to cement and hockey equipment. Well, just an hour and 45 minutes before these tariffs started very strongly, Trump took to Truth Social and says, no, quote, I have paused the 50% tariffs against Canada that were scheduled to kick in tomorrow morning for a 3-day period. It's only a 3-day respite based on the fact that Canada and the USA, subject to the finalization of documents, have a deal. The great Keystone XL pipeline, long ago killed by sleepy Joe Biden, may be awoken from the grave. Thank you, President Trump, blah, blah, blah. Now, there are several layers of Trumpian contradiction packed into this announcement. It might be more accurate to simply call them lies. Number one, and this is the most important lie, Trump says, we've got a deal. The U.S. and Canada have a deal. He's got capital letters. He's got an exclamation point. And then in the same sentence, he says, well, the deal is subject to the finalization of documents. So we don't have a deal. It is not, you can't both have a deal subject to the finalization of documents. You can say you're hopeful that a deal will be signed, but if significant terms remain unresolved and you don't have finalized documents, this is what happened with Iran. We had a beautiful letter saying we would negotiate for 60 days. And after 42 hours of negotiation, J.D. Vance left Switzerland, flew back to the United States and said, I've got stuff to do. And now that 60-day period has expired. So what we know is that frameworks, beautiful letters, preliminary agreements, they might eventually become a completed deal. But Trump is once again announcing victory before the negotiation is finished. Now, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is like, what is he talking about? What on earth is he talking about? Putting out a statement in which he says, over the last number of weeks, Canada has engaged in intensive discussions with the United States to address outstanding trade issues and deliver greater certainty and real benefits for Canadian businesses, workers, farmers, and families. Substantial progress has been made, although there is important work still to be done. As this work is ongoing, the U.S. has agreed to postpone the implementation of its 50% tariff on a range of Canadian goods under Section 338, et cetera, until the end of the day, August 21st. We'll continue this work. We want to build a stronger, independent, et cetera, et cetera. So even Mark Carney is saying, we've got a ways to go. 3 days may not be enough to figure out all that stuff that we're supposed to figure out. So why did Trump really pause the tariffs? He paused the tariffs because a 50% tariff on Canadian goods would be terrible for American businesses. It would be terrible for American consumers. Remember that U.S. importers pay the tariffs. It doesn't matter how many times Trump says it. We are not taking in money from foreign countries because of the tariffs. When you import something from Canada with a tariff on it, you pay the Canadian company for it, and then you pay the U.S. Treasury the tariff. The company doing the importing pays the tariff and passes roughly 85% of it along to the consumer as a higher price. When you see that happen, you start to realize, well, the other country might do something about it. And indeed, Canada was preparing to retaliate. Trump created the threat. He established the deadline. And then hours before it started, he retreated. And maybe these negotiations will eventually get us a real agreement. I hope that they do. I don't think it's a good thing to put these huge tariffs on Canada. But right now, we have a 3-day pause. We have unfinished documents. We have a pipeline that Trump says might be resurrected from the dead. And we do not have a deal. So there is no historic victory here. We have a Trump deadline that has arrived and a Trump threat that has disappeared. Now, why is this so bad for American businesses, which was one of the claims to fame of Donald Trump, the businessman president, which is that he knows business, and everything he does will be great for the business environment. One of the worst possible things for businesses, if what you want them to do is hire and expand and invest, is uncertainty. If you are a business thinking of, as Trump likes to say, building a plant or a factory, one of the things that you account for when you think about your plans is by the time the factory is built, what is going to be the regulatory and economic framework in which we will be operating? We need to be confident there will or there won't be wacky tariffs on Canada. And by the way, especially if even to build forget about your product or service, if to build the factory, you are going to be needing imported materials, it also affects what it's going to even cost to get this new factory up and running. So the point is, if there is uncertainty as to what is going to be the level of tariff on a particular country, or imagine that you're not worried about the tariff on Canada because of anything you need to import, but you sell to Canada, you export to Canada. We know that it is typical that there are retaliatory tariffs. So all of a sudden, if Canada retaliates with their own tariffs against American goods, now you're building a factory to sell something to Canada, demand for which will decline if there is a tariff on it, because it'll just make it more expensive for the Canadian buyer. So the point is, markets like stability, businesses like stability, consumers also like stability. If you see an environment, you're thinking about buying a house or a car, and you see an environment in which interest rates are going up or just staying where they are, mortgage rates are still roughly 7%. That is going to dissuade you from taking the economic action that supposedly Donald Trump wants you to take, which is consumption and spending and all of it. The point is, this is all wacky. It's all motivated by Trump's ego and emotional instability, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better. If anything, his condition seems to be getting worse.
There are a lot of VPN companies out there, and almost all of them make the exact same promise. Trust us, your data's safe. Our sponsor, Private Internet Access, you don't have to take their word for it because they've proven multiple times in court when authorities have asked for user logs, they don't have them. They don't have anything to hand over. Their software is open source. You do not have to trust anybody. You can verify for yourself. They have a no log policy, which really matters because the whole point of a VPN is to protect your privacy. Private internet access hides your IP address, encrypts your connection, helps to protect your data when you're at home, on public Wi-Fi, traveling, and it also lets you access content that might not be available in your region. Just a single private internet access account you can use on unlimited devices with servers in 91 countries and all 50 states, optimized for fast streaming and downloads so you are not sacrificing performance for security or privacy. It's one of those things you turn on once and just forget about it. Get an exclusive 83% off. That is just $203 a month plus 4 months free at piavpn.com/Pakman. The link is in the description.